Hello and welcome to Star Citizen. My name is Evenlease, and today on 10 Minutes More or Less Ship Review, right behind me, I have the Origin 400i, a luxury explorer. Let's go ahead, take a look. Alright, welcome back everybody to another ship review. Today, the Origin 400i, and this ship is fantastic if you love Origin's design, their sleekness, and you want a good middle ground ship that isn't as spendy as a 600 series ship or an 890 series ship. And if you want something a bit bigger than a 300 or a 100 series, then this is definitely where you want to be, and it looks pretty fantastic too. So, taking a look at this ship, it's considered a luxury explorer, and it definitely has a lot of luxuriness to it, as well as some capability of exploring. We don't really know what that capability is yet until we see that portion of gameplay really come to life. So hopefully we'll see that in the next 6 to 12 months, somewhere in there. I don't know. Well, we never know, right? So, yeah, getting into it, though, this ship, when it's on the Pledge Store, if you were to buy it with real money, it is $250, or you can just get it in-game for $11,466,000 UEC. So it's a really good price point if you're looking for a medium-sized ship, fancy, you just want to relax out there in the verse. This is a great pick, and it actually has pretty good firepower, too. Surprisingly, the DPS seems like it would be low, but it's really not that low. You have 990 DPS, right? Which you're like, oh, what do you mean that's not low? Well, it kind of is, right? But it also has 193 on each capacitor, and those are two size 4 CF447 Rhinos, as you can see right now. These things are huge, so they hit a lot harder than like the 337, obviously, or the 22s, or any of those. So these are actually really good guns, and you have a lot of capacitors, so you can just lay in consistent fire, very consistent fire on your target. And this ship, when it comes to maneuverability, really isn't that bad. It's a pretty big ship, and it's very nose-heavy, as you can see here. But it's got pretty good maneuverability for that fact. Ship speed-wise, not the greatest, and we'll get into that here in just a moment. But on its offensive and defensive capability, you also have 16 size 1 Marksman 1 missiles and 16 size 2 Strike Force 2 missiles. So you have a pretty good amount of missile firepower. You have two really big guns on the front of this ship, and then you also have two unmanned turrets on the back of the ship, giving you a little bit more of a defensive capability if you need to run from a situation or just protect yourself a little bit more. And those come outfitted with CF337 Panthers. So 4 of those in total, 2 on each unmanned turret there on the back, which is fantastic, always good to have. But that also means this ship isn't technically a solo ship, right? And understandably, it's a pretty big ship, but you could definitely have a crew on here, so give you a little bit more of an advantage out in the battlefield if you end up on a battlefield. Hopefully you don't. This ship, it's an Origin-style ship. Who wants to drink their wine and get shot at the same time? That's a stupid question. There's a lot of people that probably would want that, but it's a luxury exploration ship, not a luxury I want to get shot at ship. So, and it's fantastic in that regard, because the fact that even when you don't want to get shot at, you have plenty of defensive capability. You have 100,000 quadrant shield, which is really amazing. There's been a couple comments about me always explaining what shield does, but I just want people to know. The quadrant shield means that you have 4 faces, and that's broken up into 4 parts. So that's 25,000 shield per face. So it does give you a lot more capability to, as long as you're spinning your ship around a lot, and, if they're hitting you and you can't hit them back, just make sure they're kind of spreading that firepower among the whole shield, and you'll definitely last a bit longer. Now, if they do bust through your shield, you do have 80,500 ship HP, so that's really fantastic. It's really up there, and I really like that. I'm going to say really 15 more times. It's a great ship with great shield power and health point power. as well as pretty big weapons. So I'd say so far, this thing's a pretty big win. Now, let's take a look here on the exterior real quick and try to point out some, things about it. Well, what is so special about this ship? I mean, other than that it just looks great and has great firepower and shield and health, you can also carry an X1 bike here at the front. I don't have one with me right now. I was going to go grab one, and I'll kind of show you on screen right now what it looks like. But if you hit the button on the left there, it drops down the garage where the X1 will sit, and you just go ahead and put it on that little elevator and bring it on up. Now, elevator ships are always somewhat of a risk when you have cargo ships or vehicles. Anything you load, you're always, risking it that it could potentially spaz out and cause damage to your ship or just not work or fall right through. That's just current bugs. I'm sure that's going to get fixed sooner or later, but it's quite of an annoyance. That's why a lot of people like to pick ramp ships, like ramps like this, even though it's a little off the ground because of my parking. People like this because you have a lot less of a chance of, killing yourself. But be careful. If it's windy out here and you're climbing up this thing, you're going to go flying. And then here on the back, you do have garage access. So this thing has two bays. The front bay is for the X1 only. And then over here is a cargo bay. So if you drop this down, this is where your cargo will sit. Or if you want to put a smaller vehicle back here, you definitely can. They had a moment, a very small moment, and some people don't know this, that this ship could actually carry an ROC, a rock. They lifted the suspension on this ship, allowing it to do that. And then they were like, no, never mind. We don't want that. We don't want this ship to be able to have more capability. Kicked it right in the knees and dropped it right back down. And that's really super sad because this thing was quite awesome when it could carry that. And I think they should bring that functionality back, because what is a part of exploration than going to a new mysterious world and cracking open a rock and seeing what, the world is made of, right? That is a really big part of exploration, in my opinion. And I think it would just be fantastic, not only being able to carry an ROC, but, you can carry other smaller vehicles as well. As on this platform, you can carry 42 SCU of cargo if you don't have any vehicles on it. So always good to know that. You have 42 SCU of cargo, so you can do some cargo runs, have a little bit of fun with that. This ship, in the question of what can it do for you in the world of Star Citizen right now, is pretty good amount. Quite a bit, honestly. You can definitely do bunkers. You can go do screenshots and go have fun with, just making images all day. You can, go do bounties. You can take vehicles around and go do... You can't do medical ops with it because it's no URSA capability or no medbed in here, but you can definitely do quite a bit of other things. Now, when you enter the ship here from the front, you do have a lot of presentation here, and I'm going to show you all this. I'm going to close the bottom door here real quick, let that come on up. Right there is like a gravity generator, so that ball spinning, that's all that is. Looks pretty cool, rule of cool, right? And then over here, you do have a standard UEE docking collar, which is good if you ever need to dock to a station or another ship. Obviously, not readily available to working yet, but someday it will. Someday, right? Soon. Right here, you do have 3 suit lockers. 1, 2, 3, and a weapons locker. And this is quite surprisingly a massive weapons locker for it being a exploration style vessel. You have quite a bit of firepower here. You can rack up 3, 6, 9 handguns, 2, 4, 6 rifles, plenty of ammunition. I mean, woohoo-wee. Are we going to be raiding some bunkers today or what? Closing that up, we'll continue on to this ship. There is a big problem with this ship right now. It's nothing game breaking per se, but it is to the fact of very buggy graphically. A lot of graphical bugs right now with this ship, which is really too bad. But they're there. So if like that, whenever I turn, and there seems to be kind of a weird bug when you walk close to things, it'll start opening things randomly. So if I walk here, this door obviously should open normally. But there's just a lot of graphical bugs, especially like on the exterior of the ship. If you noticed, a lot of the thrusters on the ship were incorrectly placed. So if you can look past that, that's great. Now, right here is like a components housing, and for some reason, the door just automatically opened by itself. And look, when I turn, things are just kind of popping in and out. So that's kind of sad. I don't like that this ship has all these issues like this. I wish they would really fix that. And then let's go to the back here where the cargo bay is, and I'll show you a little bit more of what I mean when it comes down to the buttons. If I get near like this over here, I'm not even touching anything, right? I'm walking over here. It just automatically opened itself. And it kind of does that. Like if I go to the back to this battery bay here, it's going to do the same thing. And it's really strange. Like I'm not pressing any buttons. I'm using the force. Like, you would think I'm pressing a button, but I'm really not. But yeah, these are escape pods, by the way. You do have a total of 4 of them. So, interestingly enough, you have a crew of 3, but you do have 4 escape pods. So, I mean, cool. I guess if you have a guest, someone on the ship that you are carting around, they have a way to get off, I guess. It's always great. You know, tend to your guests, always. So this is, of course, the cargo room where you have all your cargo. You see all the component housings on the sides there with your escape pods. And then, you know, obviously the components that were housed in these like clean room style areas. So now if we were to go here, you do have a nice ladder that goes up to the next deck, or you can just take this elevator if you trust it. If it's, oh my gosh, that thing almost just catapulted me through the roof. Walking in here to the right, you have, of course, the command station where you are going to fly this ship and have your gunners here sitting in each side. So it's got a pretty good view. It's very helmet feeling. It's got that really sleek but thin helmet viewport, which is too bad. It's a really good view, though. Once you're actually in the seat, it's not too... it's not like RSI. You're not occupied with a bunch of struts. So that's nice. Moving back out of the cockpit area, we have 2 immediate doors. Well, let's talk about this one first. We know how much I like this one. Right here is the bathroom, and I am a vampire. The door didn't even open in the mirror, so whew, we got some magic going on here. And then you have, obviously have a nice shower because it's Origin. You have a nice little toilet area. I'm going to go ahead and open all this. Very cool, very fancy, very dangerous. Don't sit on it, whatever you do until they tell you to sit on it. Then you have a nice little clothes locker here, so... they take care of your crew on these ships, the Origin ships. They really do. They really do. And then you have 2 rooms here. This first one here is the captain's quarters. So the pilot, the captain, nice bed, nice area for some stuff. You got a nice big old TV screen, all that. Or a monitor with a keyboard. And another, area for your clothes. So pretty cool, pretty cool. Obviously can't put your clothes up yet. Now if you want to go ahead and access any of your storage, it's going to be underneath the bed. You're going to go there and press F. That should open it up for you. And then if you go across the hall, which is interesting, these doors were wide open, and now they're not. If you go across the hall, this is where your crew sits. So laying there, nice cargo storage, everything, same deal. Underneath, you got yourself the lockers and everything. This is a luxury exploration ship, but I feel like it's a luxury exploration ship for the crew and crew only. If you're going to have somebody on board this ship, like a guest, a VIP, you don't have a bedroom for them unless you're going to be giving them the captain's quarters. There's no bedroom for them. So maybe this can drop down like in a RV or something. They sleep right here on the table. But you do have a nice eating area. If you do bring a VIP or a guest on this ship, you have a very nice looking kitchen with a very nice area to sit down and eat, and a nice little scanning room area. It's kind of like a room. It's not really cut off or anything. It's kind of weirdly placed in the middle of the eating area, having a nice conversation with your VIP and doing a little bit of exploration at the same time, right? And then you have a nice view of the outside world with a unmanned turret, sadly, right in the way. It would be nice if they could tuck that away and have it just pop out when in use, like in some of the 890 or 600 style ships. But otherwise, it's really cool. Nice looking view and little cartography table here. Can't wait to actually put some of this stuff to use. Overall, it's a pretty fantastic ship. It looks great, and it's more or less a ship for the heart of the person that really wants to just feel luxurious. It's not a Drake ship by any means. You have very nice paneling, very nice textures. Everything looks great. Very nice materials making up everything here. You have nice silverware, perfectly fresh fruit. You're definitely not in a Drake ship, where everything's rotted to the core and you got wires all over the place. So, it's just all about what you want, right? What do you guys think of this ship? Honestly, that's interesting. I just turned the lights like that. Let's go to the emergency looking lights here. Okay. Oh, cool. Like a little red band across. This ship, honestly, for me, given all the bugs and everything, even though I'm not going to really count the bugs towards the score because that's very, very minor things that aren't really affecting the overall gameplay of the ship, and in the long run will be fixed sooner or later. Given the fact that this thing does have really awesome capacitors on the guns are pretty freaking huge, and it can carry an X1 as well as many other small vehicles in the rear. Not all at once, but at least you could carry one. outside of those small bugs, this ship's really great, honestly. The only thing I'd have to complain about is the ship's speed. Let's get into that really quick before we end this review. 200 SCM is the top speed with a 400 forward boost and a 205 backwards boost, as well as a 1000 nav speed. Now, outside of that, you do have a really strange number for quantum fuel. That is 4,920 quantum fuel. Pretty interesting. They had to custom size that gas tank for sure. So it can go pretty good distance without needing to refuel. Its ship speed's a little bit of a miss. I was wishing it was a little bit faster, because luxury exploration, wouldn't it be just sick to just be flying across the surface of a moon, at such a high speed. So it's a pretty cool looking ship, though. It does great, and hopefully I can't wait to see its functions and gameplay really come into play. But it right now can be used for so many things. So honestly, this ship for me is a 9 out of 10, and I say that just because of the fact it does have good firepower, amazing shield, great ship HP. It can carry 42 SCU cargo. It can carry some small vehicles. This thing is a great all-rounder. It really is, and you could solo it all day. You don't really need to occupy those rear guns. It's always nice if you do, but yeah. It's a great ship for its style of ship, 9 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think of this ship down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.